Colton, hey, how you doing? All right, this looks phenomenal. Really amazing start. Good job. Great control. Gorgeous, gorgeous work. That's beautiful. There's a few things that I think we can do here. Just a couple of recommendations. I'm sure you're way ahead of me on this, but I just want to make sure. Um, so right now, the nice thing about this illustration is your light source is clearly defined. Okay, so here's your light source is coming from right up here, as we can see by the reflections, right? So you've got some really good shadow play going on here, and that's fantastic. That needs to be, you advance that technique a little bit. I'm not saying amplify that technique. I'm just saying start applying more shadow and highlight to different areas. That's a nice subtle shadow right there. The one thing you really, really want to be careful of is when you start depicting shadows like this right here and that little crease right there on the chin, that definitive crease, some of these shadows, you want to be really, really, really subtle. Don't let the darkness and the tonal distribution in the image sway your better judgment as you look at the illustration itself. Because one of the things that happens is if you go too hard on the shadows, our characters start to look like zombies. Um, and that's a concern. But you want to start getting things like this. See those little bags under the eyes? You have those. That's great. So see the little shadows on the side and underneath the nose. You got the great job underneath the nose. A little shadow on the side. Little indicative shadows of that will reinforce that light source and really define to a higher degree your depth, dimension, volume associated with this two-dimensional piece that is approaching looking like a three-dimensional object. So that's fantastic. Got a little couple of hiccups over here in the armpit. Yeah, that the hand needs to be fixed. Now, one of the things that I'm thinking here is that the way that it's cropped. Okay, so when you do your other illustrations, one of the things you want is you want all four illustrations to kind of take the same focal point from the camera. So in other words, they're taking up the same amount of space in the stamp itself. So it looks like all four are taken from the same distance of the camera. And that way you'll create a nice consistency and a great harmony in your stamp series. So watch your crops. So that's going to be really, really important. Other than that, we're looking fantastic. Now, one thing I want to mention is this is your first, and this is just amazing work. It looks beautiful. But let's get those creases. You add a little movement to the illustration by getting some of these creases in the shirt. And these are indicative of movement in the shadows. Shadow highlight area in the shirt as well. A little bit of texture in the shirt, specifically around the shoulder and collar area. And then get some texture in there in that microphone too, a little dimensionality within. So anyways, where I'm going with this is that this is such a great start that typically what happens is when you start this kind of technique, this flat avatar technique, by the time you get to your third character, and this is why, just so you know, this is why we have four characters here, because you get good quick in this technique, you really do. And so quite typically, students' fourth attempt is superior to their first. So I always recommend that students, once they're complete, they go back to the first two, kind of revisit things and get that technique to be present and really, really be accounted for in all four, so that we look like these are all four, created with equal attention to detail, shadow, highlight, depth, dimension, volume, etc., etc. Makes sense? Okay, love it. Just love it, man. Really good job, Colton. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing this one come to fruition. So, all right, great job. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. I'll be glad to make any necessary clarifications. Beautiful start, Colton. Thank you very much.